Persona 5 is a lot of things. It's a slice of life that lets you enjoy the simple pleasures of being a teenager in Tokyo, and a series of high-concept heists, in which you infiltrate bad guys' hearts in order to force them to change their ways. It's one of the best video games ever made. It's also a picaresque game. But what does that mean? The picaresque novel is a literary genre popularized in Spain during the 16th century, in response to the popular literature of the time, which told tales about idealized heroes doing great deeds. It instead depicted a decaying society with warts and all realism. These are stories about wretched people scraping by in a hostile world that couldn't care less about them. The protagonist of the picaresque novel is a picaro, a rogue, a scoundrel, a trickster, someone with zero social standing, looked down upon by those around them. Though a good person at heart, they're so beaten down by the difficult life they're born into that they can only rely on their cunning and mischievous nature to cheat, deceive, and survive. Despite attempts to improve their lot in life, the odds are always stacked against them, and they're more likely to be on the receiving end of a beating, starvation, or jail time than they are to prosper. Picaresque fiction typically follows an episodic structure that sees the picaro serving various masters. This shines a light on corrupt authority figures throughout different layers of society, including nobles, politicians, and religious leaders. Through their experiences with these people, the picaro learns the harsh lessons of life. It's unfair, and no one is going to look out for you except you. The work that established this genre is called Lazarillo de Tormes, published by an anonymous author in 1554. It's the story of a young man named Lázaro, a nobody born in a river with a thief for a father. He goes to work for a blind beggar, from whom he learns the tricks he needs to get by. Following that, he drifts from master to master, serving a priest who starves him to the brink of death, then a broke nobleman who pretends to be well off, but would starve without the crumbs of stale bread he gets from Lázaro, and so on. All of this is presented as a letter in which an older Lázaro reflects back on his life. If you've played Persona 5, this should ring some bells. The game's protagonist, Joker, is a picaro. In contrast to Lázaro, he doesn't start on the bottom rung of society, but he does end up there. He's an average teenager until one night, he witnesses a drunk man accosting a woman. When he intervenes, the man clumsily stumbles over, injuring himself. Turns out, this guy is a rising star in Japanese politics. His connections ensure that he gets off scot-free, while Joker is branded the villain of the incident. After getting hit with a criminal record and being expelled from school, the court orders him to move away to Tokyo. I mean, being sent to Tokyo is pretty awesome as far as punishments go, but we'll let that slide. From its opening moments, P5 makes it clear that there is no justice in this world. Joker's actions and intentions don't matter, only the perceptions that others have of who he is. And everywhere he goes, he's reminded that people like him are not welcome. His caretaker in Tokyo immediately labels him a burden, and basically tells him to shut up and be grateful that somebody's willing to take him in. To the principal and teachers of his new school, he's nothing more than a liability. They don't care about him, just the damage they fear he could cause their reputation. As for his peers, they decide sight unseen that he's crazy, a problem child, and a dangerous criminal. Even your gameplay objectives are presented as orders to keep your head down and not break society's accepted norms. You're told to obey your instructions and live an honest student life. Joker's companions are treated with contempt too. His first two friends in Tokyo, Ryuji and An, are rejected by their peers and teachers alike, as a pain-in-the-ass punk and a slut who they wish would just go away. The three of them, along with the others who join their team of phantom thieves throughout the game, are either ignored or actively targeted by those around them. Their only recourse is to use their natural gifts to protect themselves. In the picaresque novel, the protagonist is blessed with the cleverness to outwit their antagonists. In Persona, it's the ability to summon, personas. Joker and his crew resolve to use this power to fight back against the crooked authority figures in their lives.
Right on! What's up, Persona?
According to P5's worldview, the most celebrated and influential cultural leaders are absolute scumbags. The first villain that the Phantom Thieves face is Kamoshida, their school's PE teacher and volleyball coach. From the outside, he seems like an amazing guy. He's an Olympic medalist who brings prestige to the school. The truth is, he's a monster who physically assaults the boys and sexually abuses the girls. To make matters worse, the principal and even the parents know this, but choose not to do anything about it. They fear getting on his bad side and losing the opportunities that his status enables him to give those who please him. The rest of the game explores similar situations. There's a famous artist who profits by stealing ideas from his apprentices, a CEO who treats his employees like slaves, and a leading candidate for prime minister who's more than happy to commit murder if it means advancing his career. Everyone suffers at the whims of the powerful. This, however, is where P5 diverges from tradition. In the picaresque novel, the course of the protagonist's life is determined by the circumstances of their birth. They are trapped at the bottom of a social ladder that they can't climb no matter how hard they try. At the end of Lazarillo de Tormes, Lázaro is able to find happiness only when he chooses to ignore the fact that his wife is unfaithful to him. Rather than this idea that society determines your future, P5 opts for a literal representation of fate. The final battle is against the god of control. After winning the support of the masses, the Phantom Thieves defeat him, reform society, and even prove Joker's innocence. It's certainly a more idealistic approach, which is ironic given that the picaresque novel came about as a reaction to overly idealized stories. But maybe it's not all sugar and rainbows. In the sequel, Persona 5 Strikers, the Phantom Thieves once again become public enemy number 1 and must take down another group of power-hungry foes who want to impose their will upon the world. You can fight corruption, but it's a battle that can never truly be won. P5 may take some liberties with the picaresque formula in order to create a fun video game experience, but let's be honest, killing an authoritarian god is definitely cooler than getting cheated on by your wife. In any case, it's awesome to see a game borrow ideas from an old-fashioned genre that many people playing probably haven't heard of. Every work of art is inspired by something. Persona 5 reaches deep into literary history, and the result is a game with a unique identity that is rightly hailed as one of the best RPGs ever made.